Welcome, Taurus singles, Terra My Love. This is a very special edition, the second half of May singles read here, the Four Pillars on the Beach edition, I should say. And here we're going to look at, for super singles, totally singles, we're going to look for your soulmate, Taurus. Just straight up ask Spirit to show us your soulmate. You know what they're like when you use the four pillars to approach it here with six card pull. And we're going to look at the emotional, intellectual, love and sexual nature, and core values and lifestyle nature in your person here, and try to bring down the one that's right for you, not the next X problem, but the next Mr. or Mrs. Right for you. Okay. Um, so let's see. We're going to look at the emotional aspect. Is the Three of Wands and the Five of Cups, and the intellectual is the Tower and the Hangman. And I'm going to stop there for a minute and just look at those because it's a little bit of a different reading. So what I do is imagine that your soulmate's been circling the airport, can't land because it's too busy because you've been with other things, people. But now we're going to bring them down and go meet them and try to get some idea what they're like here. So even if you're out on a date, you could kind of recognize from this kind of how they might uh, be responding. But with the Three of Wands and the Five of Cups, so I see abandonment issues. You know, it's not uncommon in childhood with your person here. Um, it's pretty bad. Just like maybe a mother that abandoned them, like completely or serially. You know, I went through this, so I'm not projecting. I do a lot of readings, and not everyone's abandoned. But this, yes, it's like you know, uh, people, a mother or a father. You know, it's often the mothers because women are the ones who usually do the caregiving. If there's a father that was the caregiver, then it's the father. But you know, they were busy with other things when this person was a child, and they just weren't paying much attention to them. Now, honestly, when this happens, we have Tower here and Hangman in their intellect. When this happens, this is your person. This is not a toxic read. We're not reading it like this. But we're all have our stories. And some of us, we pieced ourselves together as best we can. I think some make us better people, for going through all this stuff we went through. And this person went through it because their parents were absent at the fucking wheel, and they suffered because of it. Now, they're going to tell you about this. I don't know, maybe on the first date or not, but they'll tell you. Maybe if you draw it out, they definitely will. Um, it's hard to say, but I mean, anything could have happened because there's no one really protecting them. They were gone. They were off. They could have been drug addicts. Their parents, they were off. I mean, their parent could have been a prostitute. They're really off seeking other things. And I don't really see siblings. They feel alone. They felt alone. So if they had siblings, they didn't have siblings. They're not going to talk about siblings. Oh, my brother, my sister, with whom I am eternally bonded and was always close and am still close. I don't think they're going to tell you that story. If they have siblings, they may have evolved closer later in life. I have no read on that. But I think as children, there was a sense for them of just being on their own and being alone. Maybe almost like, they weren't really a child so much. Didn't really have a childhood. Um, they may had to grow up fast and fend for themselves. I'm trying to see how they've dealt with this with the Tower and the Hanged Man too in the intellect. Again, this is your person. they do tend to focus on the negative. It's hypervigilance. I have a little this. Hypervigilance is like Jason Bourne, that movie, when he's in the restaurant and he doesn't really understand what's going on. He's like, I know the license plate numbers of every car in the parking lot. There's 37 people. Four of them are left-handed, the rest are right-handed, and it's hypervigilance. But instead of the CIA mind fucking us into being like that, it comes from this terrible childhood because you can't do much as a child. You can't take much action. There's not really much you can do, but go into your mind. And one of the most effective things you can do, work like a charm for me, is as soon as you're capable of moving, is to be very vigilant about your surroundings, hyper vigilant, and it becomes a real pattern, a real habit. And they're going to have this. And with the Three of Wands, it's kind of how they control their actions too. Um, So with them, there's a sense of containment too. I gotta say, I did. And this is your person. This is a tough one, guys. They're keeping demons down, but they're keeping them down. But wow, it's like that sense with them. They have a real strong sense of the dark side of life. They may tend to watch detective shows and stuff like that. Real life shows, not dramas so much. They may be drawn to that. Even like history or something like this could be drawn to it. And with the hanging man, there's no way not to see that as intellectually like they hang back. So in a relationship or in a date with them, they're gonna really listen, and you're gonna have a hard time, really hard time, pulling them out. So you may want to start with your open-ended questions now and be kind of patient and consistent because you may have to. So, how did that? How did you feel when you got divorced? What was that like for you? It was a bad time. Really, what was bad about it? It was really bad. Can you articulate a little bit in some manner, like how so? Maybe it was bad. What was, you know, that's your person, Um, but they will listen, you know. But they will be listening for problems, and they'll be always thinking ahead, like, uh, you know, constantly. It's like a AI, like constantly calculating out. To try to assessing everything too. There's an energy of assessment too. It's like they will be assessing you and calculating then from based upon that assessment, recalculating. There's fantastic equations if you were to break it down, but recalculating their whole life, like if because they're going to see you're their soulmate, so they'll be recalculating you in and have to refigure everything. And two, I think with the tower and the hanged man, you might you might see kind of a blank look on their face. They may just go inside, go away for a minute, because they're doing these calculations. You're talking, and they're not. They're listening. They're really listening though, because you're saying, "Yeah, I don't know. I still have kids to put through school, and they're this age, and they're kind of disappearing a little as they're calculating. Okay, then this grade, and then we'll be able to be alone when she's this age, and that means this many years, or however it might be. They're calculating. I'm just revealed how I would calculate it. So everything you say, they're listening to it, and they're in putting it, integrating it into their existence, and then like calculating out the new predictions for the future in their hyper vigilant fashion. And this is a constant, ongoing process. It'll be interesting to see where it ends up sexually here. Um, but yeah, so they may seem a little distracted, a little bit of the energy of like the absent-minded professor. I don't know why I have a feeling they might have like an interest in history. Like even like we'll see what it looks like on their um, core values, but maybe they teach history or something. So this is their sexually Hierophant. They only have sex when they're married. Maybe temperate. Maybe Yeah, this person probably is going to tell you they've been celibate for a while. You can believe them. In fact, they may tell you, and this may be due to the childhood stuff, that the only time they've ever had sex was when they were married. And I think they may have only been married like once. I got a feeling. And it may have been for a substantial amount of time. And I think they've been celibate, and like they are just not kind of not going to give themselves unless they're in a long-term committed relationship and feel very secure. And I'm trying to think of how that would work in terms of the Mars and Venus. I like to see the Mars and Venus. I want to see a Sagittarius Mars here, but then that would make the Temperance, I mean, the Hierophant. I mean, what would that correspond? Like a Capricorn Venus, maybe? Could be Capricorn Venus. Yeah, kind of like the status quo. Yeah, and that might be why they stay in a relationship too. They just their instinct is just once they latch on, they stay. So I'll tell you what they will tell you. They're going to tell you that their person left them, man or woman. They may really tell you that story because I don't think they would leave. Like I don't know. I think you'd have to beat them away with a stick. This person once they're in love with you, I got a Sag Mars. I'm pretty loyal. It's just with Sag Mars, your most ideal sexual experience would honestly be probably fucking your way through a circus. But that doesn't mean you do it because the Venus controls that, right? So with a Venus in Capricorn, they want a solid relationship and they want to work on it for the rest of their lives. Okay, and they don't want to do that in terms of very nice. Nine of Pentacles, kind of more like I thought. See, the history teacher could work. Maybe their tenured professor. In the Six of Pentacles. So you end up here with a very solid person as they present, and they're going to want a marriage, and they're going to want a solid kind of traditional home life. I'm not saying they're a Republican, but they're kind of traditional. Their values are kind of conservative. I don't know about the politics of it, um, but they're not going to want any strange living situations. Straightforward. I'm the husband, you're the wife, I'm the husband um, situation. They're going to be extremely fair. Like they're literally going to say, what's mine is yours and what's yours is mine. And I think they have something. They're not wealthy, but they have ability to pay attention. They do what's right for them. This is Capricorn energy. They might be a Capricorn with the Nine of Pentacles to me. Very Capricorn. They've been climbing. They're an older person. They're an established person, mature person, and they've worked for what they have. Absolutely worked for what they have. Both of these cards say this, and they're very generous with it. They may actually donate to causes. They may volunteer at homeless shelters or something, or women's shelters or men's shelters. Who knows? Something like this. Um, but they're going to be, once they're with you, very solid, very giving. There's some Venus energy here too. So I think in terms of relationship, a man or a woman, they'd be a very loving and giving spouse. They would feel like that it's their job with the Hierophant here too, in terms of their love nature. Literally, like a Catholic whose vocation is love, is their marriage. They would want to give themselves to you. And I get the feeling with this person that even if you're young and you marry them and have children, it's always going to be more about you with them. Yeah, they're going to make you a huge priority in their life. Taurus. Tearing up a little bit. Maybe you've been wanting that. No, I've been wanting that. But yeah, yeah. Out of this turmoil that was their childhood, they built a good life for themselves. So let me know, guys. Thank you. Give me a like. Appreciate everyone subscribing. Helps a lot. Thank you, guys.